This is Hannibal here from thehannibaltv.com, and I am with three-time officially WWE Tag Team Champion, actually four-time, as well as former WWE Intercontinental Champion, former WCW superstar, the Mountie himself, Jacques Rougea. How are you doing today?
Hi, Devin. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's always great to hear from you and see you. But the reason I'm talking to you today is because 24 years ago, I was there. I think it was April 11th, 1997, the height of the popularity of the NWO. You got a victory over Hulk Hogan, and it's been all over the media in Quebec this month. So I wanted to ask you if you could share some memories of that huge night in your career at what's now known as the Bell Center. It was the Molson Center back then.
Devin, I almost feel like starting to cry. You touch me so much when you talk about that night. We all accomplished things in our career, maybe two or three big ones, and over a period of 41 years. So, when you talk about those two little things or three little things, they come and they touch you a lot because it's an achievement of a lifetime and an accomplishment, a lot of work. And so, yes, I was very, very lucky, Devin. This weekend, to my surprise, this newspaper guy calls me up and he says, Jacques, he says, the 11th of April, 1997, something big happened. He said, we'd like to renew with our Quebec people and just let them I almost told him, well, make it a holiday, but anyway, so I was very surprised. I had 2-page spread in the paper across the province, and there was a big picture of me and Jimmy Hart and Hulk, and then there's a picture of myself, and they went over that night that I was the luckiest guy in the world to be able to pin Hulk Hogan at the Molson Center. It was awesome, Devin.
So how did that whole situation come about? Because I understand you're the one that brought WCW to the Molson Center that night. It wasn't actually WCW, and you arranged for that match. I guess, did you have to go and ask Hulk if he would do it?
Yeah, there was a lot of procedures to go through. First, I got to tell the truth. Carl and I, we went to WCW, and I think it was only to give a shot to Vince because they didn't really use us. We weren't used very well. We were getting beat by mid cards, and they're pretty much even sometimes bottom cards. So it wasn't the move for my popularity that I went there. But it's funny how things happen sometimes for a reason. And when I was there, I felt like at a time that the WCW was growing tremendously. They wanted Hulk and Eric Bischoff were, I don't know. I felt like there was something not smooth between them. And Hulk and me, we've always done good, professionally. I never was a close friend to Hulk's. I mean, I've never went on his boat. He never invited me to have supper, but he always had this respect for me and the respect for Raven and I for what we did at the beginning of his cards, opening up the shows sometimes around the world. We always opened the show in a great way. So he knew that when we opened the shows that the show was going to be good because that, Devin, as a professional wrestler, that the first match of the evening is the most important. And then if you have a good start in a crowd, then you'll have a great show. And so Hulk had a lot of respect for me. And so at one time I went to see, and I was very close to Jimmy, as you know, and Jimmy was very close to Hulk. So I told Jimmy, I said, you think WCW would like to come to Montreal? And he says, well, I don't know. I said, well, ask Hulk if he says, you ask him. So I said, okay, Jimmy, I'll ask him. So I went to see Hulk and I asked him, I said, hey, Hulk, I have a lawyer in Montreal who's called Cookie Morton Lazarus. And he's the greatest lawyer in Quebec. Like he does lawyer cases around the world, but in Quebec, he's the greatest. He did for the Montreal Canadiens. He did for Renan Jalil and Celine Dion. He's a big time lawyer. And so I told Hulk, I said, I went to see Hulk, and then I said, Hulk, would you like to have a match with me? I'd love to put you over in Montreal. I just have a chance to work with you. It would be my dream, just Jacques Rougea against Hulk Hogan. And it's funny because it didn't take him more than I don't know how long, but it was really fast. He just, I'm not even surprised if he answered me right there. Let's do it, And I'm looking at, I almost freezed. I couldn't believe it. I was so happy. So that we started promoting and booking for the 11th of April. And then promise in return, I had told Hulk to tell Eric Bischoff that we would have a TV station for them, WCW, to come now in Montreal and to open the territory in Quebec. So that was the deal. And then about a month before the show, I went to see Hulk. He was doing some promos one day in Orlando. And I said, Hulk, would you mind? I said, I'm going to fake an interview. I'm going to go like I'm doing an interview. And I said, would you mind just coming in and slap me? Like, just give me a good old slap and tell me to get my butt back to Quebec. And so he did it. And boy, did he do it. And anyway, so long story short, a little stiff, but it was good. It was worth it. And then about a month later was the show, the 11th of April, and I had fixed up something with a couple of limousines, where a limousine goes to pick up Hulk at the airport the day of the show, but I was in the other limousine. And anyway, so when Hulk came out of the airport, all the cameras, CFCF12, TVA, all the big stations, Radio Canada, everybody was there for when he arrived. And when he went to get in the limousine, he was saying, Rougea, I'm going to kick your butt tonight, blah, 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 all this stuff. And I opened the door of the limo when I got out, and I slapped him. But, I always slap in the neck when I slap the guys, and I make them pop, And I don't know what happened, but I slapped him. I must have hit him on the jaw. And so I jumped back in the limousine. And I'm sure you have a clip of that, Devin, eventually, if you want to show that clip. I know you have it.
Yeah.
And you could see the slap where it was amazing. The feeling was amazing because I knew it was a good take. And it had to be a one take because he was coming out of the airport. So it was just great. And but I remember jumping in the limousine, and Carl was sitting with me in the limousine waiting, and because he was in the other main event against the Giant, and so he was kind of really partners in this stuff with me. We were working hard on this show together. And anyway, so long story short is I got back in the limousine, all excited and shaking, and Carl was crying like a baby. It was so funny because Carl was crying. I said, "What's wrong?" Oh, he says, "I'm so happy," And we felt the adrenaline. It was awesome. It was a great time. And anyway, so I got to the show that night, and when I got in the dressing room, at one point, for all the boys, Hulk just says, "Well, brother, what are we doing tonight?" Like if it was me, the boss, I just started laughing so hard. What a joke, what a guy. He's funny. Asking me what we're going to do tonight, like me, it's just a privilege to be there at the same place with him. Anyway, but he was total serious. He just turned back around and says, "It's your show, brother." He says, "What are we doing?" So I said, "Well, how about," I said, "well, what do you want to do for a finish, at the end to beat me?" He says, "Brother," he says, "you're going over tonight. It's your show." And in front of all the boys, and anyway, after I finished laughing, I realized he was serious. And I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe it. So anyway, I told him, I said, "Well, then why don't you beat me up the whole time? And then at the end, I'll just do something quick." I was just impressed that he wanted to do that. So, but that's not what happened. We went out there and he got in the ring, and I became Jacques Rougea. And it was funny because when I got in the ring, there's 99% of the fans that were booing me, and I was in my own backyard, and 99% of the people were just NWO going wild over Hulk and stuff. And then we had a big match, but when I say I became Jacques Rougea, is because I said to myself, when I came in with the Canadian and the Quebec flag, I said, I'm going to win these people over. And I was hurt mentally because I was disabled by what had happened. I didn't call that shot. I didn't thought I was going to be that much of a heel. And so I worked my butt off, and I worked hard. And at the end, and finally, and he made me look good too. We did a lot of back and forth in the match, and I was surprised. I didn't thought he was going to give me that much. And so I pinned him at the end with the 1, 2, 3, and that was awesome. It was awesome because it not only gave me a lot of notoriety in the province of Quebec, some in Canada, but gave me a lot of notoriety towards the boys. Well, I should say a lot of heat. but because a lot of the guys wanted to beat him and wanted to work with him, and they never had a chance. So I was very, very fortunate, very lucky, and it's funny because we had a little incident after the show, because after everybody had left the building, we were parked in the garage, and my wife at the time, we went down in the basement, and as we came out of the basement where the hockey players park in the building, the door opened of the Molson Center, and there was hundreds and hundreds of people. I couldn't tell you how much people there was, but it was all screaming for Hulk Hogan, and I was coming out of the garage door, which was opening, and my car was coming in, and I saw that wall of people. And I just told my wife at the time, I said, hold on, just hold on. So anyway, so I started pushing the people with my car because they wouldn't move. They would just scream. They were banging on my car and Hogan. And I kept pushing them with my car slowly. And finally, as soon as I got out of the garage, then the door shut behind me. And when the door shut behind me, Jesus, I got to tell you, Devin, I got scared. For a second there, I got scared. I said, hey, I can't back up into that garage anymore. It's closed. There was people. It was flood around me of people. And so I did. It's funny. This is the weirdest thing and the greatest thing in my book that I've done in my life is, I don't know where it came from. I swear to God. But anyway, as soon as we pulled out, and then I told my wife at the time, I said, I'm getting out, lock the doors. She just looked at me, freaked out. And I got out. I started pushing the door because people were against the car and pushing. And when I started pushing, people started backing up. And people screaming, Hogan. And then I got out, and as soon as I got out, it's almost like I was going to hit somebody in the second row there, you know. And I reached real fast, and I grabbed a piece of paper. And then I took the guy's pen that was in front of me, and I started signing my name on the piece of paper. And then I gave it back to the guy. And then whoop, another piece of paper showed up. And then I took it real fast, and I started signing. I was acting like I was cool. And then another one came, and it was amazing what happened, Devin. I swear to God, when I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 minutes later, people start moving in front of the car, and they start screaming, Rougeau. I had gained the respect of the people that scared me and came for Hulk, but I gained their respect. You know, and so that was a great moment in time for us who lived in the area of the WWF and all those things in the younger days. It's been like 24 years ago, like you said, so it's not for today. But it was just magic to see those two spread papers, the two pages in the paper, remembering that moment in my career. You know, so it was amazing, Devin. It was amazing.
And I think part of the reason why they cheered Hulk so much that night was because he hadn't been to Montreal since WWE. So it had been some time, and he was such a legend there. So it wasn't necessarily because they weren't a fan of you, but you had been going to Montreal all those years with the Quebecers and so forth. So it was crazy. I was there that night, and I remember the reaction when you won. And of any event I've ever attended, there was pandemonium.
I know it was amazing because I think after looking at the tapes and everything that I must have gained about 65-70% of the people back. You know, at the beginning was 99% against me, and now I had like 65-70% for me. So it was great, Devin. And you know, but to be honest with you, I don't think I'll ever have the real answer of everything, because I don't think people and people don't know how much of an icon Hulk Hogan he was at the time, you know, and it's great now. Hulk Hogan will always be a legend, but at the time, Hulk Hogan and the best thing of Hulk Hogan, I got to tell you, there's two things, the best things of Hulk Hogan. The first thing is Jimmy Hart, his friend, Jimmy Hart. He does so many good things for Hulk. I know it because I hear from it, and Jimmy's great. And the other best thing I could tell you, the one last thing I'd like to share about you, Hulk Hogan, I've never seen a man in such a powerful position and be so nice and so kind at 6 o'clock in the morning to the people in the airport, signing autographs, always being nice. I've never seen you out of place, and you were tired, and you were Hulk Hogan, you're an amazing man, and whatever you accomplished, you know, that I don't know about, but as far as I know, there'll never be a bigger name in wrestling than Hulk Hogan. I don't matter what the era is, and there'll never be a greatest night of wrestling as WrestleMania 3. When I was on that card, 93,000 people at the Pontiac Silverdome were with Andre the Giant. That was something amazing. So, Devin, I want to take 2 seconds to congratulate you on all those millions and millions of people that are following you now. It's amazing. I saw you when you first started, when we had 10 people that saw my interview. Yeah. and it's amazing what you've accomplished. You know, you fought hard all your life, Devin. You've never had the breaks. You've had some problems to keep you from getting into WWF, and you never stopped. And now you're way over WWF. You're as far as I'm concerned, you have your own Kreno. It's amazing what you've accomplished, and I'm just proud to be part of that from the start.
Well, I appreciate everything you've taught me in wrestling and all the advice you've given me over the years. I got to ask you quick, do you have anything to say about WWE letting your brother go? I think it was last week or the week before.
My brother Raymond should have. Oh, let me turn my tongue 6 times before I talk. I'm sorry for Raymond. Just sorry for Raymond. But, I wish Vince had more respect for the Quebecers. And not Quebecers, Carl and I mean the Quebecers, all the wrestlers, Dino Bravo, Ricky Martel, everybody that came from Quebec. And there's no way on earth, after everything I've accomplished, titles with Piper, with Brett, with Hulk, with the Men on a Mission, with the Steiners, beat them for the titles. I did everything. I've turned Sid Vicious babyface one night because they needed it. There's nothing they didn't do with me. My brother and I, we deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. I've decided to say it like that, and I'm not knocking anybody that's in there. I'm very proud and happy for them, even the Bulldogs. I'm very happy that they're going to the Hall of Fame. They deserve it, and they really do deserve it. But we deserve it too, because it takes two to dance. And if, like Bret Hart said on a video not long ago, you must have seen it, where the Killer Bees and Demolition and the Rougea brothers and the Islanders and the Rockers and the Marty Jannetty, Shawn Michaels, there's a bunch of teams that created WWF in those days. Hey, we were going an hour match, me, Raymond, and the Rockers, an hour marathon match. One time we did a match at 1 o'clock in the afternoon in Europe. We took a 6-hour flight. We got to Philadelphia that night. We did another hour match, a marathon match, 2 hours in one day. I think my jailhouse match with Big Boss Man. I think everything I've accomplished in 10 years in the WWF, I should be in the Hall of Fame. Thank you. Thank you.
And somebody even wrote in the comments that beating Hulk Hogan is almost more impressive than winning the world title, because there's only been about 10 people that have maybe beat him since he became a big star. So you're in that small group of people, and you also beat Bret Hart.
To be honest with you, my biggest satisfaction, I got to tell you, yes, Bret Hart for the Intercontinental title, but my best satisfaction was being, you'll have to look up the numbers, Devin, because you're better than me, but it's to see how many guys have really beat Hulk Hogan by a pinfall, 1, 2, 3, without a chair, without a gimmick, without an interference, without anything, just a clean win on him, 1, 2, 3, man to man. I'd like to see how many guys have done that. So yes, Devin, I'm really, really excited about that.
And to close up here, you started a podcast last year. You had George St. Pierre on it,
Bret Hart.
Yeah. Do you want to tell us where people can follow that podcast? And also, you've been on a bit of a hiatus through the winter, but are you going to get it going again?
I'm going to start back. Yeah. I couldn't go down south because the Americans closed the borders and they didn't want the Quebecers to come down, but because of the pandemic. But all that said, I'll be going next year. But my podcast is easy. You want to go on YouTube, you could go on, I guess, all Spotify and all of the platforms, and you go just see Rougea podcast father and son in French. So it's a Rougeau podcast, Père et Fils, and there's a bunch of stars. A lot of them are in French. I'll be doing a couple more in English, but to be honest with you, I'm mostly concentrating on Quebec people, artists, singers, and everybody that were stars, and I'm having a lot of fun with that. And yes, I will be coming back strong. I got a lot of humorists and comedians that are all set up, and singers. So, and I got Shawn Michaels that's waiting standby for me to call him. He's going to do a podcast.
Oh, wow. That's going to be a big one.
Yeah. I can't wait. Shawn and I, we go a long ways.
And if people want to follow you, they can follow you on Facebook. Are you on Instagram or anything?
No, I'm sorry. I'm not. I haven't evaluated. How do I say that?
Evolution.
My evolution is slow, but I'm on Facebook, so you can do that. But and I always thought the other one there, what you call Twitter? No, not Twitter.
Twitter,
they're for intelligent people. So I stick to Facebook. I hang around there with my.
Are you going to have Hulk on the podcast? That would
who?
Are you going to have Hulk on the podcast? Someone's asking.
You know what? I'm afraid to ask him. He's so friends with me and everything, but I'm afraid that he's going to say no. I don't know. I'm going to wait for the good time, but I think eventually I hope to get him. But he's done so much for me now. I'm just so grateful for what he's done.
Well, thank you for coming on. It's nice to see the weather is clearing up there, and I wish you all the best with your podcast.
Ready to go in about a month from now. And like Edward Carpentier used to say, à la semaine prochaine, si Dieu le veut.
Thank you for watching the Hannibal TV.